3, 2, 1.
What is going on, Southwest ISD? What is going on? Welcome back to another big episode of Scoreboard. This is your one-stop shop for all things Southwest ISD athletics. My name is Brandon Medina, and I'm here with Mr. Peter Wagner, your athletic director. How are we doing, sir?
Doing very well. You know what? I want to start today with an attitude of gratitude.
Attitude of gratitude. Hit me with it.
I want to thank Mr. Andy De La Rosa, our number one fan of the Scoreboard podcast, because he always texts me afterwards like,
great
"Hey,
show.
Coach, that was a great show."
Yeah, he texts me, hit me too.
I mean,
yeah,
like
he's
the
best.
greatest confidence builder
Yeah.
there is. So thank you, Andy De La Rosa. You're the man.
I'll tell you what, Andy, I appreciate you making the mediocre look incredible and making us feel like we're doing
exactly
this studio feels like a studio.
We have one listener, and
That's right.
therefore awesome.
We have more than that. Not by much, but we do have more than that. But shout out to our buddy Eddie, man. He's the best. And thank you for tuning in. If you are a new listener, continue to please share, push the podcast, go follow SWISD Athletics and our Southwest ISD pages anywhere you can find them. And also follow the podcast. It's everywhere. Amazon, Apple. You could say Alexa, play the Scoreboard podcast, and Alexa will do it. I don't know if that's possible, but I'm pretty positive that is. We will try it today. But it is available, Google Play, Amazon, Apple, Spotify, all that good stuff. So, again, thank you so much for tuning in with us. We have a good show today. It's finally here. We've been talking about the football season. We're finally kicking off. We're
Game
finally
week.
doing all that. It's game week. We got Legacy and Jefferson, Southwest High School at Harlandale. Big week, and I think looking forward to a good season. We also have some things we want to talk about when it comes to cross country. We also want to give a big shout to volleyball. They've been in season. This is hard.
Yeah,
They've been going.
They're mid-season.
They're mid-season, yeah. And so we want to talk about all of that sports and more. But with that, where do you want to start? So do you want to shout out to cross country real quick first?
Let's
and foremost?
start out with tennis.
Oh, let's do tennis. Let's go.
Tennis is currently undefeated, and big game this week.
No surprise. Tennis out
I
here.
mean, we talked about
things.
tennis last week a little bit, but the Dragons got a win. A big win over McCollum.
Nice.
Then they got and the Titans got a huge 18-1 win over Jay.
Nice.
And so both 1-0. This week the Titans take on McCollum. And so that'll be a big matchup. There's probably about 4 or 5 schools that are really in this thing. And so and both of those being the Dragons and the Titans. But then we brought in the two new people on the block with Jay, which got a win, and I would suspect that based on the results that the Dragons will probably be heavily favored, at least when they play Jay. But then you got the new kids on the block being MacArthur, who are
pretty solid.
Probably going to be pretty solid tennis wise, and so that'll be a really good matchup for the Titans and the Dragons. So that'll be pretty interesting as we go through. Good luck to both tennis teams as they get going today again. Hopefully not quite as hot as it was last week.
Man.
So shout out to our coaches when we talk about hot, because like our middle school is practice in the afternoon, and with the new our new safety guidelines and things like that, they didn't hardly get to go outside last week for practice because we want to make sure our kids are safe first and foremost. So our coaches got creative having practice, so we make sure that we're ready to go for those first scrimmages at the middle school level next week. And this week, our middle school volleyball groups get started scrimmaging and stuff like that too. So all the way across the board, safe and getting it ready to roll. But tennis is off to a great start.
Let me ask you something, Coach. Right? I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
Yes, ADHD. Yes,
I'm not trying to put you on the spot. No, I'm not trying to put you on the spot. You're a great coach. You're a friend now. You're a colleague. We still work together. Let me just ask you, when did we start the heat advisory stuff? Because I don't feel like this was something that
when did we start this year?
Okay, I was gonna say, because I was like,
so
Coach,
last year we
I saw
went
them in
on
the gym.
Heat index.
I saw them
we
in the
use
yeah.
the wet bulb globe.
Gotcha.
Basically, so with the wet bulb is we have all these stations at all of our schools. They're like these tripod things.
Sure.
And basically it measures the heat index with the humidity, with basically what it feels like on your body.
Yeah.
And then there's certain levels. So if it gets to a certain temperature, then you can't practice like in full pads.
Sure.
If you get to this temperature, then it's no pads, and it gets to this temperature. You can be outside for an hour, but every 10 minutes you got to take a water break. And then last week it was just black. It was like, get inside. It's not happening.
Yeah, no, because I know I saw some of them, some of the football players from Southwest High School practicing in the practice gym over here inside as we were leaving to work and stuff. And thinking about it, I was like, I know we did that, especially for rainy days, like when it was pouring, because of course it gets flooded down at Dragon Stadium, so can't go down there. And then next week there's just a gang of mosquitoes waiting for you. But taking off. But I do know there was plenty of hot days that you would come out and you would come out in a white t-shirt, green shorts, so you were nice and cool, full pads, and you're like, wow, it feels great today, doesn't it, guys?
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah.
Beautiful out, isn't
like,
it?
This is
Look at you
rough,
guys.
sorry.
Look at you guys looking all cold.
Yeah, look at you. You're like, man, I could put on a jacket today. And I'm like, Coach, the sun is nice and bright. And it doesn't feel great out here. But I'm glad we do that. I'm glad that that's now happening for our students.
But to understand the UIL, that's a recommendation, but we're all following it, obviously. But that's for practices and things like that. For games,
you gotta
play the game.
Yeah,
and so we're definitely taking precautions at games. We have overheating zones and things like that, all that kind of business. So really working on making sure we have a safe place for our kids to compete and play.
That's awesome. Well, shout out to tennis. We expect great things, and I think we're in store for another great season. And then the cross country, kind of just picking up where we left off too, with another great outcomes and great seasons coming up.
Yeah, and so like I said last week, we're sitting about on the girls' side of things. Half of the top 15 is made up of SWISD runners, and so just from top to bottom on the girls' side, shout out. So Austin Walsh had the fastest time going in last week. They all ran at the SAISD meet pretty much, and all ran their fastest times. But right now, Austin has the second fastest time in the district, followed right behind by Alicia Galvez and Annabella Zapata, who are right behind her from Legacy. And then you go down to Haley Friesenhahn, freshman. Haley Friesenhahn's like all world already as a freshman. She's playing tennis. I saw her yesterday. She was at basketball athletics, and then she runs cross country too. And she's an amazing hurdler from McNair. So shout out to Haley. She's also pretty high on the Dragon Warrior list. So shout out to Haley Friesenhahn. Then Peyton Elwood, sophomore from Southwest, is next. And then you go down to Janaya Santos, sophomore from Southwest, the softball player, basketball guru as well. And then finally, Southwest Legacy brings in the top of the top with Jasmine Rivera. And so the Southwest ISD girls runners are looking really good for coming into district, and that's with all of the district running now. And so thanks to our friends at RC Audio for posting those things and helping us out with that. And then on the boys' side, the Southwest Dragons looking good again. Top two out of the top three are from Southwest with Roman Gonzalez.
That's awesome.
And then Seth Griffin. And man, Seth's really made some strides from last year too. So shout out to Seth. And then you got Wynn came in and MacArthur that we didn't see the week before. And then Albert De Hoyos from Southwest. And then you got Albert De Hoyos from South. Oh, he's on there twice. So he's really fast. He did it twice.
He did it twice.
But shout out to our guys at RC Audio for their help. But really looking forward to some this next coming week. Not this week, but the next week, September 5th, is the Southwest ISD, the Southwest Cross Country meet down here. So looking forward to watching all those kids run. So great job, both coaches and kids, and keep it up.
Yeah, and today
some early morning running.
Oh, a lot of early morning running. And today we have our today we're recording on a Thursday. Tomorrow is going to be Friday the 30th, and man, it's a packed one with the next two sports we're going to talk about. We got volleyball, right? We got a tournament going, I believe, for volleyball.
We got the SWISD tournament with 22 teams here today.
You got volleyball. You have football for Legacy's going to be at home, starting off at home. Southwest going on the road to start off. Let's start off with volleyball a little bit. What has kind of been, I guess, the chatter around with coaches and how they're feeling about the season and being in mid-season form, looking forward to to the rest of the year.
I think that, like I said, the storyline so far has been we've kind of upped our game with their scheduling.
Yeah.
Southwest High School had a good trip. They went to Pflugerville for the weekend
Nice.
last week and ended up finishing as the bronze bracket champions.
Okay.
But they played some really good competition from all over the state. You know, they played good games against. They beat Abilene High. They played a really good game against A&M Consolidated, who ended up winning the silver bracket. They played a good game against Burleson Centennial out from Dallas, who ended up going to the gold bracket. They beat Fort Worth Dunbar. They beat Poth and Lexington, I think it was. So they were playing from all over the state to do that. And then Legacy had a good tournament where they were playing some teams out of Corpus again and everything at SAISD. Went to the silver bracket after losing a close one to Bernie. But I think the big storyline right now is Tuesday night. With the new district, we're in a 9-team district. So Southwest started out with a bye, played a really close game with the perennial state qualifier in Wimberley. Went 5 games with Wimberley. They got a young lady that looked like Destiny Hooker that is going to Alabama. And they played them really strong. But the big news is that Legacy started out the district season on Tuesday night with a big win against Southside, and so they're off to a 1-0 start. So that's a huge win for Legacy. Get that momentum going. Great job by them, and the continued growth of that program in volleyball. So congratulations to those ladies, the coaching staff, Coach Cardenas, and everybody over there, and keep up the great work. Now we got the Southwest ISD tournament. Got some people coming from different parts of the state and all over the city for they're going to play 9 matches in the next 3 days.
Wow.
At Southwest ISDs between the 2 high schools. So excited about those things, and good luck to the volleyball team.
Yeah. I will say all the volleyball teams, and like you said, we're in mid-season. I've been tracking out those games as far as on the district calendars. You can find out more about where they're playing, what time they're playing on our district calendar and our athletic calendar. So make sure you go check that out and go support great volleyball going on, because both have been really, really special. And I think Southwest and Legacy have really special athletes on the volleyball squad that you're going to be hearing about in other sports as well.
And congrats to Addison Bartlett. Already was a all area Express News selection last year, but got her 1,000th kill over on Tuesday night. So congratulations to her. Man. And keep it coming.
Telling you, some special things going on in volleyball. When it comes to football, man, we have Legacy and Jeff, and we have Southwest High School at Harlandale. These matchups are interesting, right, together. So I want to start with Southwest first. Southwest, you have 2, if not more. I mean, we have Z-Voss, who's probably going to be going to a really big school as well whenever he signs, right? You have Tyson Dean, who's already signed to Idaho, right? And so there's massive upside here. We talked with the coaches 2 years ago when we first started this show, and what I heard from Coach Franco was this is the most talented group we've probably ever had as far as skill positions go, and as depth. Like they're all over the place. And he hasn't been wrong so far. This has been an incredible journey to get here. A lot of seniors now moving into it who are sophomores and juniors on varsity. So this could be a really big make it or break it season, and a huge season for underclassmen to learn from this group who took us to these heights. Number 24 in the state as far as when it comes to the Texas High School Bible, which is what is his name?
You talking about Carl Padilla?
No, I'm talking about Dave Campbell's high school football has him at 24. I mean, there's a lot of good pressure, good expectations coming into the season. What are you thinking, and what have you talked to Coach Franco about kind of handling these expectations and what to expect for the season?
I think the thing about expectations is that they're always rough, right? Because at the end of the day, it's like you almost feel like, if you lose, you didn't meet expectations or something like that. And really, it needs to be more about are we preparing and are we doing everything in our circle of control to be the best team that we can be?
Yes.
And if we're doing that, it doesn't matter if because you're most of the time you're as good as your schedule. You know what I'm saying? And let's be honest, if you look at the Dave Campbell's, our either school, Legacy or Southwest, our strength of schedule is more along the lines of like Conference USA than it is the SEC.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But when it comes to, so that raises expectations, right?
Right.
And so with that being said, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Dragons, and then I think that Legacy is going to be fighting for a playoff spot and one of those top spots as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that most prognosticators will tell you that the Dragons are a heavy favorite to win the district, and then followed by Jay after their big run in 6A last year and 3A. But they also lost their quarterback and a couple of other pretty good ones and everything. So, but Coach Gutierrez and those guys do a great job. And then you got
the quarterback, the one that went to go play for Army? Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was Navy.
Or Navy,
but,
one of the two,
yeah. Careful when people get mad
I
about
know
that
you're right.
kind of
You're
stuff.
right. You're right. But I know it was definitely one of them.
But you know, and then you always have the perennial, the two-time defending district champions in Southside. That's going to be a big one, and we get them at home for the first game in the new press box and things like that. You know, so if it's me, and I don't want to put a bunch of pressure on there, but I don't think you have to worry about me putting pressure on. I think Coach Franco and everybody knows that, and their kids know that, and everybody knows that there's some hype around them and everything. And so, you know, they're going to be favored probably in every game they play this year, depending, and it's going to snowball as they continue to win. You know, I didn't realize when I was looking at the Harris poll that Lockhart is a Division I team as well. That might be one of their, you know, early tests that's going to be a good thing to kind of look at.
Did Lockhart get the win last year, or did we? I know they.
No, we won
here.
last year.
So
the first year we lost at Lockhart.
At Lockhart.
Last year we won.
You and I met up at that game
Mm-hmm.
last year, and I remember telling you, like, this team's really good. That quarterback they had was really mobile.
They're very athletic,
and the play calling was constantly getting changed every
Mm-hmm.
possession. Like they weren't. It wasn't run, pass. It was we're gonna pass 3 times, run 2 times, then pass, then run, then run. It was all over the place, and the defense did a really good job of adjusting. But Lockhart is a really, really good squad, and I'm glad you brought up Southside, because looking at the schedules, what I did notice, and we'll switch to Legacy here shortly, is the schedule as far as playing away really benefits the Dragons this year.
Mm-hmm.
Only because away they're playing Harlandale, South San, Martin, and Wynn and Sigadoa, right?
And Nixon. We had to flip a game, so we'll talk about logistics here in a minute.
So we'll talk about that one. But looking at those games are very winnable away. You get a lot of tough ones here at home. You get Lockhart at home. You get Southside at home. You get Legacy, and you get Jay all at home. Those are big games.
All of
to
the
have
biggest
your,
games are all
your
at home.
crowd around you.
With a lot of, you know, you got the Fire and Armor Bowl at home, but you have the dedication, the Mike Frazier Field, the new press box.
There's a lot going on this season.
And then it's the battle of, and then, you know, the battle of the South Side, you know what I mean, renewing a really good rivalry. I think that the last time that we played Jay in a football, like in a game situation, we scrimmaged them all the time.
Yeah, I was like my first 3 scrimmages ever with you were
we
during
scrimmaged.
Jay.
Yeah, we scrimmaged Jay all the time with Coach Goforth and then with Coach Gutierrez. But before that, I think the 2 games where Steven Salinas was in high school still.
So it was back in 09.
So you're looking at the 08 season, I think, was the last that we played them in 06, 07 is when we played them. So we played them in 06 when they had Myron Brew and some guys that a lot of people, that was 20 years ago, that people don't even remember anymore, but Jay was really good. And then the 07 season was the year that it flooded down there. Like this was and that's what I tell people. I'm like, hey, don't worry about, because so logistically, we're not playing a home game until October 4th. Yeah. The Lockhart game next week is being moved to Legacy, and then we flip the Nixon game, so we'll have 6 home games next year, but we're going to Nixon on the 12th. And so the last time that we didn't play a home game in Dragon Stadium was 2007, before October, and we went undefeated. and stuff. But
Well,
but you know what I mean. So
I like that
so-
you're looking at if the stars have aligned
and
again.
the last time we beat Jay in a game, it was in overtime. Mark Hall caught a touchdown.
So you're
pass,
saying if
touchdown
there's a
to win
game
it
to
all.
go see, that J game, if the line,
That J game is
if
gonna
the
be
stars have
interesting.
aligned, that
Yep.
J game might be a really
Yep.
interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a talented squad.
But they're gonna be talented. Yeah, I like the way AJ Franco's throwing the ball. He's got a lot of weapons to. I think the hardest coaching point for the Dragons right now is how you gonna get everybody all their touches.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like
It's a lot of
things like that. And then I feel like their offensive and defensive lines have improved. They were young going into it the last couple of years, and I feel like they're ready to go. Got a senior center.
Yeah.
You know, things like that are really ready to go. And so you put Z and Tyson in the back part of the defense, and you got Tristan Quintanilla holding it up in the middle, and you're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, so it'll be an interesting year. It'll be a lot of hype around them.
Also, Fine Armor this year. Listen, 3-3, man, tied up going into Game
It
7.
is,
This is like the Game 7.
The
for
rubber
high school.
match,
This
man.
This
This
is
is
a
Game 7.
This is a perfect. You cannot build it up to. Be
And how
any
much?
better.
And how much? You don't ever need motivation in that game.
But
But think
what
about
motivation?
legacy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're gonna come in a pretty decent underdog more than likely.
And they're gonna
But
go. What?
in that thing, that's you talk about the ultimate trap game because they're good enough to win. And
And you got some hype coaches over there that are gonna get
Are ready to do
that
that.
are gonna
Oh, yeah.
get those guys locked
Absolutely.
in. Especially, I know my boy Cooper's already
Oh, yeah, he-
planning a 2-page monologue to give. But yeah, I mean, looking at that game's gonna be really exciting, and we'll talk about.
and they're
Legacy
gonna get
now.
better.
That's what I want to talk
throughout
about.
the Legacy's
With
gonna get better every week.
with Legacy, this is one of the most exciting times in Legacy football that you could really think of, because you're starting to see the old guard has graduated, right? You're going to be seeing new names, right? New exciting opportunities. The guys who are waiting for that shot, they're like, man, if I could just get a few plays on the field, if I could just go and be that guy for this team, I think we could make something happen. You're going to get your opportunity now as a student, right? This is the opportunity is wide open at Legacy, right? At Southwest, it's going to be tough to take Z Voss's job, right? It's going to be tough to take a Tyson Dean. At Legacy, there's going to be a lot of opportunity that I think is exciting for Coach Bruce, right? All the coaching staff there. Offensive line's going to be a lot new. The skill positions are going to be a lot of.
They got a nice little mix.
They are.
You know, they're young. They're going to start a sophomore at quarterback.
That's what I'm saying. You're going to have a young team.
They're going to start a sophomore at quarterback, but they got some big dudes up front being led by Jeremy and those guys that are that can move people.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And then they got a bell cow at running back,
Yep.
and he's young. You know, James Ross is a dude and stuff, and getting better and better, seeing things, really coachable, great kid, things like that. And so really excited about those guys. You still have Cano Esquivel coming back from a second team all district performance last year, I think he was. You know, they got a freshman kicker that can boom it. I mean, like if Southwest has an Achilles heel, it might be their kicking. But they got a freshman that can put it in from 35, 40 yards if they need to.
Wow, that's
And
a
so,
huge plus for
so
coaching.
big plus that we're excited about watching there. And so, you know, Coach Bruce, Coach Flores, Coach Black, Coach DLR, both DLRs, those guys all do a magnificent job. Really excited about you know, they had two scrimmages that defensively, their defense is going to be able to do some things, and then offensively, you know, they're gonna grow. You know what I mean? And it's just going to be a matter of how well can they run the ball to kind of move the chains and then make some big plays. But they got some young cats at the skill positions that Coop is working with that are doing some big things too. And then defensively, they're doing pretty well. But I'll tell you, they have spurts though. You're like, okay, they hit a fade against Veterans Memorial for a touchdown. And Vets is a good team, and it was like 2-1, and one of theirs was at their twos, you know. And so they're in 2-minute drill. This kid threw a fade like a dime right there, just put it right on the hands from the outside, and it's like, let's go. You know what I mean? So really excited about what they're doing over there.
That's what I'm saying, man. This is an exciting time to jump in right now for Legacy, because Southwest, like you said, this is a big year for Southwest, and I think the expectations there. Whereas Legacy has the opportunity to say, hey, you know what? Why not us to kind of put a stop to that? And why not us to come in and say, hey, let's win the Fire and Armor, and also we can kind of cement our spot as like, hey, we're coming and we're coming quick because they have like you said, the sophomore quarterback, roster running back. You have a great defensive opportunity where people are going to be able to come in and find spots where they mesh with that defense. And so I'm a big fan of both of these schools and what they're bringing to the table, and I think potentially.
Well, I sure hope so.
No, of course, but I'm saying like as far as I think what makes it fun is a lot of the guys I was able to play with have now become coaches, and so
How neat is that, right?
Seeing them grow into that
That's pretty
role
cool.
is really, really unique and fun. And so and I have massive respect for Coach Franco, Coach Bruce, and I think both of them. Whenever we get them and we talk to them for Fire and Armor Bowl, that's always one of my favorite shows because there's a mutual respect, but there's also like I'm not gonna give an inch onto what we're planning, onto what we're thinking. Like, they're great people, and this is gonna be a really, really fun fall for all of Southwest ISD. So, anything else that you want to kind of talk about, touch on?
Quick shout out. We started this year thanks to Raising Canes on Southwest Military and Zach Gaitan, their general manager. They are sponsoring a couple of things this year for the Lockhart game, and then the next game against the Wind. We're doing a kicking for chicken where somebody they make a field goal, they can get a year's worth of canes.
Don't let that legacy
but
get in on that,
right? And then but the other thing that they're doing is a couple of things. Is they are sponsoring our Titan and Dragon Warrior of the Week. So those who are scoring up in the top of our character development and our warrior program will be recognized each week, and they get a nice little package from Canes. And then every month we'll recognize our go on there, and we'll be sharing it soon if it's not out already. Nominations for coach of the month and things like that. Man. And so they're going to give them a big thing for coach of the month, and then we'll start doing it with our middle schools. We'll try to do at least one or two a month with our middle schools as well. So that's all coming from Kane. So big shout out to our Titan Warrior of the Week this week. The first one was Nova Lee Gloria, softball player. Very excited for her. And then we had Ismael Gonzalez, football player, linebacker at Southwest High School, was our first Dragon Warrior of the Week. So look forward to bring that up every week when we're on the pod.
That's
and
awesome.
Everything. So congratulations to them, and keep up the good work.
Awesome. Well, please share the podcast. Like I said, you can find it anywhere you find podcasts. We thank you for tuning in. And as always, we are
Southwest.
3, 2, 1.